Welcome back to America's Biggest Crimes, where we dive deep into the stories that shock, sadden, and captivate the nation. Today, we're covering a heartbreaking case that unfolded just days ago in upstate New York. A case that's left a community reeling and a family shattered. In July 2025, 9-year-old Melina Galanis-Fratellin was found dead in a shallow pond in Ticonderoga, New York. Her father, Luciano Fratellin, reported her missing, claiming she was abducted. But as police unraveled his story, a chilling truth emerged. This is the story of a vacation turned nightmare, a father's betrayal, and a little girl whose light was extinguished far too soon. Stick with us for the next few minutes as we uncover the details of this tragic case. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any of our deep dives into America's most gripping crimes. To understand this tragedy, we first need to know who Melina Galanis-Fratellin was. Melina was a vibrant 9-year-old girl from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Described by those who knew her as a bright and joyful child, she lived full-time with her mother in Montreal. Her parents, Luciano Fratellin and her mother, had been estranged since 2019, meaning Melina's time with her father was limited to visits. Luciano, a 45-year-old businessman and founder of Gambella Coffee, often spoke publicly about his love for his daughter. On his company's website, he called Melina the light of his life, even sharing how her messy art projects and playful chaos softened his perfectionist tendencies. Melina and her father entered the United States legally on July 11, 2025, for what was supposed to be a fun summer vacation. They visited New York City and parts of Connecticut, making memories in some of America's most iconic destinations. The plan was to return to Montreal on July 19th, where Melina would reunite with her mother. Her mother, aware of the trip, had no concerns about Melina traveling with her father. Surveillance footage from July 19th at 5:30 p.m. shows them together at a restaurant in Saratoga Springs, New York, seemingly enjoying their time. An hour later, at 6:30 p.m., Melina called her mother, sounding happy and unaware of any danger. Little did anyone know, this would be one of the last moments of her life. On the evening of July 19, 2025, everything changed. At around 9:58 p.m., Luciano Fratellin called Warren County 911, his voice frantic. He claimed his daughter, Melina, had been abducted near exit 22 of Interstate 87 in Lake George, a popular tourist spot in the Adirondack region. According to Luciano, he had pulled over to urinate in a wooded area, leaving Melina alone in the car. When he returned, she was gone. He told police he saw a suspicious white van speeding away, and in a later interview, he escalated the story, claiming 2 unknown men had forced Melina into the van. The Warren County Sheriff's Office sprang into action, issuing an Amber Alert early Sunday morning, July 20th. For those unfamiliar, an Amber Alert is reserved for the most serious child abduction cases, designed to galvanize communities to aid in a child's safe recovery. The alert described Melina as last seen around 9:40 p.m. on I-87 southbound, possibly in a white van, and noted she was in imminent danger. A massive search effort was launched, involving the New York State Police, Essex and Warren County Sheriff's Offices, Ticonderoga Police, State Forest Rangers, K-9 units, aviation teams, and the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The community held its breath, hoping for Melina's safe return. But as investigators dug deeper, cracks began to appear in Luciano's story. His timeline didn't add up. Physical evidence, like GPS data, surveillance footage, and phone records, didn't match his account. Witnesses and technology pointed to inconsistencies, and police began to suspect the abduction was a fabrication. By Sunday afternoon, the focus shifted from a kidnapping to something far more sinister. On Sunday, July 20th, at approximately 1:50 p.m., the search took a devastating turn. New York State Forest Rangers, part of a multi-agency grid search in Ticonderoga, about 38 miles north of Lake George, found Melina's body. She was discovered in the shallow portion of a pond, hidden under a log in a remote, wooded area near Eagle Lake. The Amber Alert was cancelled, and the investigation pivoted to a homicide case. Captain Robert McConnell of the New York State Police, speaking at a press conference, described the case as heartbreaking and difficult. He revealed that Luciano Fratellin was now the prime suspect. Police believe Melina was killed sometime between her 6:30 p.m. call to her mother and Luciano's 9:58 p.m. 911 call. The white van story was thoroughly investigated and disproven. No evidence supported an abduction. Instead, authorities alleged that Luciano murdered his daughter and concealed her body in the pond, fabricating the kidnapping to mislead investigators. Let's break down the timeline. At 5:30 p.m. on July 19th, Luciano and Melina are seen on surveillance in Saratoga Springs, about 30 miles south of Lake George. At 6:30 p.m., Melina speaks to her mother, sounding fine. Sometime in the next 3 hours, police believe Luciano killed Melina and drove roughly an hour northeast to Ticonderoga, where he hid her body. By 9:58 p.m., he's back in Lake George, calling 911 with a false abduction story. The question is, why? Luciano had no known criminal history, no record of domestic violence, and no documented mental health issues. What drove a man who publicly called his daughter the light of his life to commit such an unthinkable act? To understand this case, we need to look at Luciano Fratellin. Born in Gambella, Ethiopia, to an Ethiopian mother and Italian father, Luciano grew up between coffee plantations and the neoclassical architecture of Milan. He described himself as a socially conscious entrepreneur, founding Gambella Coffee, a Montreal-based company with a mission rooted in justice and sustainability. His biography paints a picture of a driven man shaped by global cultures, with a passion for business and, supposedly, his daughter. On social media, Luciano presented himself as a loving father. His Instagram bio echoed this sentiment, and his company's website, taken down on July 21, 2025, after the news broke, described how Melina's playful spirit influenced his life. Yet, this public persona stands in stark contrast to the charges against him. On July 21, Luciano was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, a Class A felony, and concealment of a human corpse, a Class E felony. He was booked into Essex County Jail just after 2 a.m. and arraigned later that morning in Ticonderoga Town Court, where a not guilty plea was entered on his behalf. The motive remains unclear. Police have not disclosed any specific reasons for the alleged murder, and the autopsy results, pending as of July 21, may shed light on how Melina died. Was this a planned act, or did something snap during their trip? Could it be tied to the estrangement between Luciano and Melina's mother? These are questions investigators are still grappling with, and we may not know the full truth until the case goes to trial. The discovery of Melina's body sent shockwaves through Ticonderoga and beyond. By Monday afternoon, July 21, a bouquet of flowers had been placed by the pond where she was found, a quiet tribute to a life cut short. Community members in Lake George and Montreal began organizing a candlelight vigil to honor Melina. New York Governor Kathy Hochul took to social media, calling the news heartbreaking, and vowing that authorities were working to hold those responsible accountable. The Police Benevolent Association of New York State issued a statement, expressing their deep sadness. Our PBA member New York State Forest Rangers coordinated the search for Melina. A NYC environmental conservation officer discovered her body. We extend our heartfelt condolences to Melina's family. The outpouring of grief highlighted the tragedy's impact on both the local community and the officers who worked tirelessly to find her. Luciano Fratellin is due back in court on July 25, 2025, for further proceedings. As of now, he remains in custody at Essex County Jail. The public defender's office assigned to his case has not commented, and Luciano himself has not responded to media inquiries. For Melina's mother, who trusted Luciano with their daughter, the pain is unimaginable. This case reminds us how quickly a facade of love can crumble, revealing a darkness no one saw coming. The murder of Melina Galanis Fratellin is a tragedy that defies comprehension. A 9-year-old girl, full of life and potential, was taken from the world in an act of unthinkable betrayal. As we await further developments, we're left with questions. What drove Luciano Fratellin to this point? Will justice bring closure to Melina's family? And how can we protect other children from such horrors? Thank you for joining us on America's Biggest Crimes. If this story moved you, leave a comment below with your thoughts, and let's keep Melina's memory alive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dives into the cases that shape our nation. If you have information about Melina's case, contact the New York State Police at 518-457-6811. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.